So again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please allow to introduce myself to you. Again, my name is Misbah Muqbil. I am USG Middle East Regional Marketing Manager. Welcome to USG Middle East third technical webinar titled Specialized Introduction for Technical Sealing. Honestly, we are delighted for the continuous technical summits which we are conducting on a monthly basis, where your attendance is considered the main support and engine for our success. The collaboration remains in the building materials industry between supply and demand chains is critical to improving the way of buildings are being constructed. At USG Middle East, we work very close with our partners, with our projects, stakeholders, and other businesses to share best practices and find new ways to advance the building performance. For all of us, I think that 2020 years was tough. The pandemic restrictions had played a major role in changing the business transactions. And in my personal opinion, it has influenced the building materials industry positively. The pandemic has shed the lights on the importance of infrastructure sectors such as transportation, education, and surely the healthcare sector, which for sure will affect the building codes for such fundamental sectors. We at USG Middle East, we work very close with the regulators and with the construction influencers to cope with the latest codes and requirements for material supply of such new compliances. The pandemic eventually has affected our behavior, such as purchasing behavior to be more digitalized and to be digital oriented, and to trust on the digital platforms more than before. And for the industry of building materials, we are USG Middle East. We're glad to announce that we have published and integrated tools to our website, such as CAD Finder, 3D Assemblies, and Revit files for all of our products, assemblies of wall and ceiling systems for easy access for all of architects, contractors, and distributors. So these files of CAD Finder, 3D Assemblies, and Revit files all are available and accessible free on our online website, which is usgme.com. We're presenting today one technical presentation to cover interesting topics that of sealing, technical sealing, such as, if you allow me, please, the new entrants, if they can mute themselves. So, for the technical, today we are presenting a technical presentation, cover an interesting topic about the technical sealing, the acoustical sealing performance and attributes, the type of technical sealing, technical performance for sealing, suspension sealing, solution panels, and the sizes, thicknesses for technical sealing, as well as we will be shed the lights on the new sealing that has been launched by Factory of USG Middle East. Again, our mission remains to deliver innovations that help you to work smarter, do more, and build better. USG Middle East operation has multiple manufacturing facilities based in Dammam, Saudi Arabia, Doha, Qatar, and Turkey that allow us to supply any project in a speed, in a high technical support. And the company owns more than 1,300 registered patents, which is a result for our dedication of excellence and innovation. We remain your single source manufacturer for acoustical sealing and drywall partitions. Kindly be noted that this technical webinar, the third technical webinar, will be recorded, as we will be sharing the technical record with a certificate of attendance once we complete this technical webinar. Please allow me to introduce our technical webinar speaker, Mr. Karim Mansour, our system specification leads, to take the role now for his presentation. Each participant, again, will receive an 1 hour credit continuous professional development, which is CPD certificate, after this webinar. If you allow me, please, just each participant to mute himself or herself and to send the questions to the chat box, and we will answer all of your questions at the end of this technical event. I will leave now the podium for my colleague, Mr. Karim Mansour. Karim?
Thank you, Musbah, for the introduction, and thank you, participants, for attending our technical webinar, which is the third of a continuous series of webinars. My name is Karim Mansour, and I will be presenting to you today about ceilings material selection, whether it's for the ceiling types or the suspensions. Let me start by a short discussion. Throughout the past years, I've been visiting project sites more often, and I've been noticing that some of the projects have one type of suspension system and one type of ceiling being installed for the full project. That's for some of the projects. Guess how many types of suspension system USG Middle East has? We have over 9 types of suspension systems that we will be discussing, and we have almost 30 types of ceilings that we will be also shedding.
If you allow me, please, if to mute the new participant. Karim, you are muted. Okay, Karim.
Thank you, Musbah. So, just to let you know that for a project, you can have more than one type of ceiling selected for one project, and almost up to many types of suspension system that we will be discussing. You have types of suspension system that have fire performance. You have certain types of suspension system used in seismic activities. You have a certain aesthetic suspension systems, as well as the compatibility and the types of ceilings that come with the suspension systems. Our purpose is that we are committed to provide innovative products and solutions to build your projects. We are your single source system manufacturer for acoustical ceiling and drywall partitions. We provide a complete solution, whether it's for the suspension system or the ceiling tile that comes with it and the accessory items, including the hanger. So it's a complete system solution, as well as for drywall partitions. We're going to start with the Dawn grid suspension system that I mentioned to you. We have almost 9 types of Dawn suspension systems.
Karim, we see the wrong screen of WhatsApp. Mr. Ihab, who's the Shisha? Yes, Karim.
So, this is the picture of the suspension system ceiling that is composed of main runners or main tees, wall angle, long cross-tee, and short cross-tee. You can see here the short cross-tee. It's 600 millimeter in length, and here the style sits here between the long cross-tee and this short cross-tee. You see the main runner. It's usually continuous. As you can see, it's a 3.6 meters in length. So when you look at the bottom of the ceiling from here,
Karim, if you allow me, sorry for interruption again. There is someone is sharing the screen, which is preventing you for the presenting. So if you can, Karim, I will change the rule. But if you can represent your screen, please.
So the components of the suspension system are the main runners, which are continuous. When you look at the bottom, you see it's continuous. They're usually spaced at 1.2 meters apart. The long cross-tee is 1.2 meters in length, and the short cross-tee is 600 millimeters in length. The wall angle as well can be of different type. It can be of shadow wall angle and or an L angle that we're going to be discussing all these components as we go. But it's good to know that all these components make the ceiling suspension system, the grid suspension system. The main runner can be intermediate duty, where the height is 33 millimeters. The height is from here to the bottom, and this is the 24 millimeter face width that you can see. This is a 24 millimeter face width, and the body steel thickness is 0.3. However, this is a double web. So when you bring the coil and you when you form it, you're putting actually the coil twice here to form a double web. And the main runner usually comes in 3.6 meters in length if it's metric, and if it's imperial, it comes in 3.660 meters as well. And you can see the slots where the cross T fits, the cross T's fits in these main runners. The main runner can be heavy duty. The heavy duty, you see the height, this height is bigger than the previous one, which is about 38 millimeters. And the body steel as well as 0.3 millimeters, and it's a double web here. The main runners can have a fire rating performance. When we mention fire rating, it's for the full system. It's the ceiling tile with the suspension system. How can we tell that this grid has a fire rated performance? You can see here the punch out, which is especially made for fire rated suspension systems that are used in fire rated systems. So when you see this bulb, this will prevent the collapse of the grid when exposed to fire up to 2 hours as a full system. So the grid has to have a fire rating performance, as well as the tile itself has to have a fire rating performance. You see here there is no the punch is not there for the fire rating. The main runner, the centricity, what we mean by centricity is the face width is 15 millimeter. This is one of the types that we will be discussing of the suspension systems of USG Middle East. This suspension system comes heavy duty, as well as the steel body is 0.38 millimeter, and it comes in double web. This is a bit more aesthetically appearing than the T24, as it's thinner. We also have many other aesthetically appealing suspension systems that we will be discussing as well. And as I mentioned, in a project, you might see one type of suspension system installed. However, you can have more than one type depending on the application. For healthcare applications, you have a special gasketed grid that we're going to be discussing that will not allow the passage of airborne particles between the tile and the grid. It's a fully sealed suspension system. And for seismic activities as well, heavy duty grids are used depending on the seismic zones. There are many criteria and applications to use the suspension system. So it's not only one type of suspension. We have 9 types of suspension system to be used in sealing systems and assemblies. For the long cross T's, the light duty, they have a height of 25 millimeter and a face width of 24 millimeter. For the long cross T's heavy duty, their height is 38. And for the long cross T, they are 1.2 meters as well in length. So, as I mentioned, the 9 types of suspension system are the Dawn brand T15 centricity grid, the T24 heavy duty fire rated, the Dawn T24 heavy duty, the Dawn T24 intermediate duty, and the Dawn DX24 light duty. So you might face a ceiling panel, such as, let's say, a certain type of cement ceiling that is very heavy in weight, or certain type of lighting that is heavy in weight, that you may require a heavy-duty suspension system for. And in other areas, you might require an intermediate duty or a light duty suspension system if your tile is very light, or the lighting is very light as well. You have the Dawn brand DXF acoustical suspension system. Here you can see the Dawn DXF suspension system that has a groove on the inside. This groove can be in black as well as white. And the DXI Identity Grid, which is a blade suspension system, it's a very thin, narrow, that we're going to see the picture of as we go through the presentation. And you have the CE suspension system grid, which is specifically manufactured for healthcare applications. It has the special gasket that we're going to be discussing. And even for non-magnetic rooms in a hospital, you have aluminum suspension system grid. It's good to know that all the previous suspension systems are made from galvanized steel. However, the Dawn brand AXCE grid is made from aluminum, and it's used for non-magnetic areas in a certain environment or hospital. So each grid system is for a different application. We start with the Dawn DX T15, which is compatible with the fine line reveal tile that we're going to be discussing the edge details in our presentation of the ceiling tiles. And we're going to see the compatibility as well as we go through the presentation. And it has a special clip where you can easily install and uninstall when you're doing the installation of the system. Maybe some other types of suspension system cannot be easily dismantled. The Dawn brand can be easily dismantled while doing the installation. And it complies with all the ASTM standards, specifically ASTM C635. It also comes in metric as well as Imperial grid, depending on also on the lighting that you may have, the type of lighting. The Dawn DX T24, it's a fire-rated suspension system that comes in a facing of 24 millimeter. It's compatible with the SLT edge and the SLB edge. It can be used in fire-rated interior and general use areas, as well as the Logix integrated system. This is also the Dawn DXL T24 heavy duty, which is also have a fire rating performance, similar to the Dawn DX24 heavy duty, but also it can be used in fire rated assemblies. The Dawn DX24 intermediate duty, where if you don't have a lot of heavy lighting fixtures or tiles, you can use this suspension system. The Dawn DX T24, the light duty, it's for commercial and economical uses. It's one of the most economical suspension systems that we have. The Dawn DXF suspension system, which has a groove, as you can see here, it has a groove, and it has a slotted system with 6.35 millimeter reveal as well. It gives you a more aesthetic appearance for your ceiling. So the aesthetic appearance can be from the ceiling tile as well as from the grid. The DXI, this is the bladed, I call it a bladed grid. You see, it's kind of a blade. It comes like a straight blade with a very thin exposure. It's about 3.175 millimeter revealed exposure for the identity, non-DXI identity suspension system. And it's very compatible with the Logix system. This is called the Logix system with the LED lighting. It's with the ceiling tile panels as well. It's a fully integrated system for that gives you more aesthetic appearance in your projects. The Dom brand CE acoustical suspension system, as you can see here, it has a gasket. It's a gasketed grid that when you put the tile here, it doesn't allow the passage of the airborne particles between the tile and the suspension system, the grid suspension system. This is the CE grid, as well as you can see the AX, the acoustical suspension system, AXCE, which we mentioned earlier, that it's for non-magnetic areas inside a certain environment, specifically hospitals. It's for hospitals and certain specific rooms in a hospital where you have radiation and you don't need exposure to magnetic and galvanized steel. That's why you make aluminum grid, and it complies with the FGI 2018 guidelines for healthcare applications, MRI rooms, magnetic free zones, and also food processing areas, and it's certified to meet ISO 14644-1 class 5 standard as well. Even for seismic applications, we do have products that allow for seismic activity and movement. This is the ACM07, which is installed on every main T for if you have a certain seismic area and you need a seismic requirement for the suspension. It allows for movement up to 19 millimeter movement, and this is the four-way clip. If you have a minimum area of a certain room of 232 meters squared, if it's less than that, you don't need the four-way seismic clip. If it's more than that, you require it. We do have also a full guideline for seismic products and activity and zones, what you require as of products. Please consult our technical team whenever you have a certain requirement for seismic activity. We do have that in our portfolio. This is just how it's installed, the four-way seismic clip. So, as I mentioned earlier, we do have 9 types of ceilings that we do manufacture, 9 types of suspension systems that we do manufacture and are available to you. So, depending on your application, whether you need a fire-rated ceiling or a suspension system for healthcare applications, depending on the room type, or if you need an intermediate duty or a heavy duty system for different areas and applications, I urge you to use our suspension systems depending on the area. Now we have explained the suspension systems and we went over the types of suspension systems. We're gonna go to the acoustical ceilings that we have. We're gonna discuss about the fire resistance, which is one performance attributes for acoustical ceilings. We're going to discuss about sound control, moisture control, light reflectance, thermal resistance, seismic activity, and sustainability. So for fire performance, as I mentioned earlier, the full system has to be resistant to 2 hours, which means the core of the ceiling tile have to be fire chief core, and the suspension system has to have a fire performance that we explained the types of fire suspension system. So as a full system, it will achieve the 2 hours. For the sound control, our ceiling tiles are tested in laboratories, third-party laboratories, to give you the NRC rating or the CAC rating, the noise reduction coefficient, which can be up to 100% absorption of the sound, or CAC, which is the ceiling attenuation class, which we will be discussing in a short video in a bit, please. And as for sustainability, USG Middle East ceiling tiles are manufactured with high recycled content with low VOC emissions, and we do have Green Guard Gold certification. We've also, in addition to that, obtained Environmental Product Declaration EPD certificate for our mineral fiber and soft fiber. So whether you're working on a project that has a certain lead requirement, we do have all the documentation that will assist you to document all the information required for your lead projects. Even for moisture, we do have 30-year warranty on our ceiling tiles to be free from growth of mold and mildew for 30 years. And we do have tiles that are resistant up to 100% relative humidity. For the light reflectance, it's good to note that LR value represents the percentage of light reflected from the surface of a material. Ceilings with LR over 0.75 help prevent eye strain and conserve energy by reducing the number of lighting fixtures needed to properly illuminate the space. So when you have a ceiling tile that has a high light reflectance, you can save on the lighting fixtures that you select, whether on the lux that you select for the lights. So you'll be saving energy within a building. Thermal resistance, also we do have R value for our ceiling tiles, whether it's soft fiber or mineral fiber. And as for seismic compliance, we have spoke about the grids that we have seismic accessory items for. So if you're working on a certain zone, whether it's in the GCC or any other part of the world, we can assist you through the seismic compliance requirements and provide for you all the accessory items needed for your project. The types of suspension ceiling solution panels. Mineral fiber is an acoustical ceiling with as per ASTM E1264 and Form 2. There are ceiling tiles with up to 100% of humidity and some other ceiling tiles up to 99%. They come in perforated and fissured, and they are anti-sag. They also have a fire chief code in the core of the mineral fiber. And we do have a factory with capacity up to 5 million square meter that produces these ceiling tiles. Even for soft fiber, we do have it on our portfolio. It's light in weight, excellent sound absorption up to 100% noise reduction coefficient, and it's moisture resistant and easy to clean. We do also have the X technology as well. On the other hand, we carry in our portfolio and we do manufacture the gypsum ceiling panels, which are cost effective and easy to install, easy to clean as well. They come in laminated and perforated as well. We do have a plant for metal ceilings, which we use a powder coated technology with antibacterial paint on the metal ceilings for various sizes. And we do have a special ceiling for exterior applications under a soffit. So We do have metal ceilings in our portfolio. As for the specialty ceilings, we do have a lot of luxurious canopies that you can see here in this third picture. We do have Compasso and USG custom solutions. It's good to note that our next webinar will be about specialty ceilings. It's a big topic with a lot of aesthetic solutions and architectural solutions and pictures that we're gonna be highlighting in our next webinar next month. So please stay tuned for that. STC is the sound transmission class. It's for the wall partition. NRC is the noise reduction coefficient. It's how much the ceiling absorbs. And the CAC is the ceiling attenuation class. If your wall partition is not reaching all the way to the soffit. So if your wall partition is not reaching all the way to the soffit, CAC, which is the ceiling attenuation class, is very critical, because your wall will not be only blocking the sound from traveling from one room to the other. You need a ceiling tile that will also block the sound from passing from one room to the other. So you should have a high CAC ceiling tile. Let us watch a short video that will show you the echo inside the room when you don't have a ceiling system installed, and when you do have a ceiling system installed. Please listen to the echo that can be also from the floor. If your floor doesn't have carpet, there is a slight echo from the floor. However, the ceiling will absorb most of the sound. Let us listen together to this video.
A room and its acoustic.
So with a ceiling system, there is
Karim, the sound has an issue. If you can just please repeat it again. It was good.
Did you listen to part of it or no?
Yes, part of it. Then stop.
Okay. You see, in the first session of the video, there was a lot of echo that you can hear. In the second session of the video, where we went after you installed the ceiling, you see that the echo has almost disappeared due to the absorption of the sound from the.
I guess, Karim, again we didn't receive the video very well, but I think the technical issue. But elaborate on it, يعني verbally, because not well heard.
Okay. So with the ceiling tile, and we can also with the ceiling tile, there is absorption of the sound, and there is no echo and reflection of the sound. You see here, the sound is being reflected from the soffit because there is no ceiling, and there is a reflection of the sound from the floor as well. But after you installed the ceiling, after the ceiling was installed, there was only part reflection from the floor. So you hear that the sound is more clear and there is no echo inside the room. So this was just the description to show how the advantage of having a ceiling system, acoustical ceiling system in a certain room or environment. So the technical performance for NRC, we mentioned that we have our ceiling tiles can reach up to 1 NRC, which is 100% noise reduction coefficient. The CAC, or the ceiling attenuation class, is up to 43 decibels, and the light reflectance is up to 0.89. For fire chief core tiles with the fire with a grid that has fire performance, you can have a hour fire rated full assembly, and the humidity resistance is as well maximum 100% relative humidity for the Clima Plus ceiling tiles. As for the sizes and thicknesses, we do have different sizes, imperial and metric. We don't only have the standard 600 by 600, however, we do have 600 by 1200, 600 by 1500, 300 by 1200, 300 by 1500, 600 by 1800, and 600 by 2400. So you don't have to use only the standard 600 by 600 tile. You do have many other options for the sizes, and even for the thicknesses of the mineral fiber, which can boost your NRC rating of the ceiling tile and absorb more sound. You have different thicknesses: 15, 16, 19, and 22. For the soft fiber, which is the can be the fiberglass or the stone wool ceiling, which is the Halcyon or the Luna, or even ICAC, you can have thicknesses up to 50 millimeter thickness. So you can have the 19 millimeter, and most of these soft fibers can come in black color that are used in cinema applications. We will be having a webinar about ceiling and wall solutions for cinemas later on in the future. However, our next webinar is specialty ceiling solutions. Gypsum ceilings as well can come in 9.5 and 12.5 millimeter thickness. This is a very important slide that shows you the edge details. So this is the suspension system, the Don DX24, that is compatible with a square edge ceiling tile. The Don DX15 is also compatible with a square edge tile. This is the Don AXCE grid, which only comes with a square edge tile be sealed. This is the gasket that will, so this is the system together. Before we explained the grid on its own and the ceiling on its own, now this is the system installed together, the suspension system and the ceiling tile. It's good to note that the Don DX24 is compatible with SLT edge, which is the tapered edge like this at an angle. So this is a reveal ceiling tile that comes below the grid when it's installed. You cannot install it with a T15 suspension system. SL edge as well. Even the ILT, this is kind of a stair pedestal ceiling tile that is compatible with the Don DX15. It's a narrow grid that is compatible with it. The Don DX15 fine line, the reveal edge, which comes at a 90 degree, unlike the taper edge, which is compatible with the Don DX24, this is the reveal edge, which is compatible with the Don DX15. The Don DXF, which is compatible with the reveal edge. You cannot get a square edge tile and put it here. It will not be aesthetically appealing. If you put the fine line edge, it will be flush with the grid that has a groove on the inside. This groove on the inside can be black or white. It's a very aesthetic, it's a aesthetic suspension system grid. As well, similar to the Don DXI grid. Even for concealed systems, these three systems are concealed. So you have the BESC edge, which is a concealed ceiling. You don't see the grid. You don't see any of the grid exposed. You see just a small groove here. And the Don DX24 with the DBESC edge. What's the difference between this concealed system and this concealed system, or this? This is not easy to maintain or uninstall. You have to uninstall the full tiles from the beginning of the room till the end, and sometimes these edges get chipped if there is no skilled laborers involved. For this DBESC edge, you can easily uninstall the ceiling tiles, and this one you can push this upwards and remove it, and you can push this upwards and remove it. There is a certain gap that you can easily uninstall the ceilings, and while maintaining a concealed system without chipping the edges when you're removing the concealed system ceiling. Even for the metal ceiling, this is a clip-in metal ceiling with the suspension system that is the spring T. This you can see here, the spring T, which locks the panel when you put it, when you clip it like this. So we do also have this ceiling system with a beveled edge and the square edge for the metal ceiling panels that are clip-in also. So this is a very important slide for the edge details for many of our compatibility between the ceiling panels and the suspension system. As for the perimeter options, we do have the shadow wall angle, which solves a lot of issues, and especially when installing long corridors, or if you have a certain panel that is SLT edge, as you can see here. It's good to install it with a shadow wall angle rather than the L angle. We do also have the L angle for seismic systems, as well as the regular wall angle. So even in wall angles, you have more than one component that you can choose from, depending on the area of application and the reason to apply. So going back to mineral fiber acoustical ceilings, we do have almost maybe more than 24 or 25 products that you can have access from our website, www.usgme.com. These products are listed under different families. The fissured family, which you see certain fissuring. Here you see certain perforations, which is the Olympia family, or can be Olympia micro perforated. The laminated family, which is a mineral fiber with a certain lamination. One of the products that we carry is, and it's considered high end with respect to acoustics and aesthetics as well, is the Sonata mineral fiber tile, which is under the laminated family. So Sonata, I urge you to visit our website and check the Sonata tile, and maybe order samples to see it physically if you haven't come across it. Sonata is one of the best tiles that we do carry in our portfolio. You do have also the face cut family, which can be a chessboard system or certain square system. So you can do a lot of certain cutting in the face cut family. Even we do have the plane family that can be used, the plane and the family that can be used in certain areas. We do also have the soft fiber, which can be glass wool or stone wool. It's good to note that this type of soft fiber can come in also different colors. Also, the Sonata, the mineral fiber, can come in different colors and can also be done in baffles, hanged baffles. Glass wool also can have black, white, yellow, green, blue. So if you have a certain project that requires colors, and we're going to see one of the pictures towards the end of the presentation about the different colors that we do have in our portfolio. And the advantage of soft fiber is that it can reach up to 1 NRC or 100% noise reduction coefficient, and it's mostly used in theaters and cinema applications where you need a very high NRC, or other open space environments where you need a high NRC. Metal ceilings. For metal ceilings, as I mentioned, we do have our factory that's been running for many years, and we do manufacture the lay-in plain and perforated metal ceiling that also comes with a optical back fleece if it's perforated, and NRC can be up to 0.9 if you put an infill panel within this perforated metal ceiling. We do also have the clip-in plain and perforated panel, which is a concealed system, and you don't see the grid of the clip-in metal ceiling. We showed the grid previously. We do also have the lay-on plain and perforated panel, which also sits on an exposed grid. And it's good to note that for metal ceiling, we do powder coat our ceiling panels and antibacterial powder coating technology electrostatically, and it's a very good technology that makes the paint on the metal ceiling durable, and it doesn't fade color with time, and it doesn't peel off with time. That's the advantage of the powder coating technology that we have. For the gypsum ceiling, we do also have it in our portfolio. We do have the laminated family, the plain and the perforated. So if you're looking to use gypsum ceiling, the 60 by 60 perforated or plain or laminated, we do also have that as part of our portfolio. As for the specialty ceilings, as I mentioned earlier, we do have our next webinar will be covering a lot of nice and architectural ceiling solutions for specialty ceilings that can be from metal or that can be from non-metallic as well. It can be canopies from mineral fiber and soft fiber. It can be baffles from mineral fiber and metal. It can be a 3D ceiling design, which is called geometrics. It can be a corridor system, it can be intersector, and it can be hook-on. We have many standard specialty ceilings, and it's good to note if you have a certain specialty in mind that we can manufacture for you using our machines that we have invested a lot in during many of the past years. We can work with you on the design, or even if it's the project is under construction, we can work with you on a lot of the specialty ceilings that you have in mind. I'm going to show you just a short glance of a few of the specialty ceilings that we're going to be discussing a lot in the next webinar. We're going to be highlighting these in the next webinar. These are the Sonata Canopies, which I said can be circular with different colors. You can have ceiling in a 3D shape ceiling with mineral fiber and soft fiber and of different colors. You can mix between the black, the beige, the white, or gray, and red even. So you can have these ceilings as a specialty ceiling. You can have the metal baffles. They can be of a wooden effect and wooden texture. And you can have unlimited possibilities in ceiling, whether it's acrylic, non-metallic, or metallic ceilings that you that you can see here. I urge you to stay tuned for the next webinar, which gonna be covering specialty ceilings on its own for 1 hour during our next webinar next month. Thank you for your attendance, and please, I'll be answering some of your questions right now. And if you have any further questions later on, you can email me at kmansour@usgme.com.
Thank you, Mansour, very much for this wonderful presentation. And I would like to thank all participants for attending our third technical webinar. Before Kareem, we go for the question and answer session, I would urge all participants or any participant who has a question, please drop it for the chat box. And meanwhile, as Kareem has said, for the website that you can share, that you can review it online, I would like to share my screen with you. This is the new website which we have launched, and you can see it's easy to browse and where you can randomly check any products, and you can order the sample immediately. It will arrive to you wherever you are. So we have facilitated the communication between ourselves as manufacturer and the stakeholder, wherever they are. So you can easily request for any samples, for any assemblies, for any mockups. We also have added the CAD Finder pool where you can easily browse between any Revit files with our portfolio for the gypsum ceiling, for the metal ceiling, for any kind of products which we have. Also, that you can have the CAD drawing, and you can just with one click you can add to your submittal. Then you can create your own technical submittal ready for approval, whether it's Revit, CAD, BIM files, or PDF. So these features as ordering sample and of CAD Revit file browser, it really will facilitate, and it will bring the bridge between both parties. The last thing which I need to elaborate here in this wonderful webinar, the latest edition for us, which is the 3D assemblies, where it's available all online, free. You can really order any assembly for your projects directly, can be received. Any of these, you can just click on any assembly just to understand the construction of itself. You can request for the CAD or Revit files for this assembly. So this is just to this is a newly launched, which has been launched between the second webinar and the third webinar within the last month, just to show that we are up to the latest requirement due to pandemic has been urged us directly to cope with the digital transformation requirements. Let me go back for the questions and answer session. Before that, I would remind that each participant will be receiving the CPD certificate, and we will be sharing the presentation itself and the recording webinar. So Kareem, keep ready, please, yourself ready for the questions and answer session. The first question, Kareem, what is the added value for the seismic clip? Kareem, if you can unmute yourself, please.
Yes, the ACM07 seismic clip that we saw in our presentation, it allows for the movement of the system. So when there is a seismic activity in a certain country, it will allow up to 19 millimeter movement in the seismic ceiling, instead of the ceiling collapsing on the floor. It will not allow it to collapse. So the main reason of these seismic clips is the movement. It will allow the movement for the ceilings.
Another question, Kareem. Would be sharing the presentation materials from Ahmed. Yes, we'll be sharing the presentation and the recording. Because of the IBC International Building Code gives solution without using a special clip on all categories. This is a continuation, Karim. It came from the same seismic clip because he's saying the IBC code is giving a solution without using a special clips for all categories of sealing. So why do you consider the seismic clip is really required for the acoustical tiles?
Actually, it depends on the seismic zone. So there are seismic zones, and as per our study and testing and our data that we can share, it must be used, these seismic accessories, in order to allow for the movement.
Karim, what is the difference between lay-in and lay-on?
Yeah, lay-in, the panel will come beneath the grid. The lay-on, it will be sitting on the grid and appearing like a square edge tile. So when you look at it, it's flush above the grid. It doesn't lay beneath the grid. This is the main difference between the lay-on metal ceiling and the lay-in metal ceiling.
Can you please talk more about the X technology? Karim, one of the questions, which is the cast.
Yes, the X technology is one of the technologies that we do manufacture in the States. However, there's a special treatment in when you manufacture the ceiling tiles, the cast ceiling tiles. However, the trend right now is going for the Form 2 and not the Form 1, the X technology. So most of the projects right now in the region are using the Form 1, which is the wet felt, the Form 2, which is the wet felt technology that is being manufactured here in the region. So the trend is going for wet felt technology.
Mr. Lijo George, you have asked a commercial question. If we have a local supplier details in Qatar, yes, and we will. I will reply it for you privately. We have our own manufacturing facilities, as well as we have the sales office in Qatar. So I'll be replying for you in a private message. We have another message from Mr. Eric Karim. How NRC testing of insulation along with the perforated metal ceiling? If the NRC are insulation of 0.85, metal ceiling perforation of 0.7 to 1 with an open area 1%. What is the NRC of the system including insulation? I think there is some, he made some miscalculation for the open area. So what I suggest, if you can correlate between the open area and the performance of the acoustic, disregarding if it's metal ceiling or gypsum ceiling. This is the first. The second thing, Karim, if you allow to elaborate how the insulation play a role and the density and the thickness after the perforation. So these are two dimensions of the question.
It's a good question. We do have testing for a certain percentage of the open area. Because as you mentioned, if the open area is less, the sound will be reflected within the room, and it will not be a lot absorbed. So the reflected area plays a major role in the acoustical performance and noise reduction coefficient. And there is a black back fleece that comes behind the perforated panel that also absorbs the sound. And when you add an infill panel that's made from soft fiber on its own, this infill panel can achieve up to 0.95. But when installed with the perforated panel, we have testing in third-party laboratories that prove that it can reach up to 0.9 NRC for the infill panel for a certain also open area. So the infill panel plays a role, the open area plays a role, and the acoustical back fleece on the back of the panel also plays a role. So there are different factors that play a role in the acoustical performance of a certain ceiling assembly.
Karim, another question from I can see if 1 second, please. Okay. Another question, Karim, from Cousin, because someone has just shared the screen. About the sound. Mr. Cousin, he raised a question that he has noticed that the products are blocking the sound from another room to the adjacent room. The question is, are these products especially only for ceiling, who's blocking the sound from room to other? Or there is another materials can block the sound from room to other?
Yes, blocking the sound from one room to the other when you're using a ceiling, it's the CAC or the ceiling attenuation class if your wall partition is not reaching the top. Another way to block sound from passing from one room to the other is the wall partition itself. And we do have systems achieving certain STC rating for the wall partition, which can be up to 72 decibel. And we've used it in many cinemas and up to 78 decibel even. We have wall partitions that reach up to 78 decibel to block the sound from one theater to the other. And we've completed almost 35 cinemas so far in the kingdom itself. So we do have solutions that are made, wall partitions made from gypsum board and steel framing that will block the sound from one room to the other. It's not only the ceiling on its own. There is also the mass barrier ceiling that is used in theaters, which is kind of a double ceiling, a gypsum ceiling with an acoustical ceiling that we do also have it in our portfolio, especially if you have planes passing from outside and you don't want the sound to pass to the inside of your building. That's also one of the solutions that we have as well.
Karim, same participant who had asked between the correlation between the open area and the insulation and the NRC. He said that you have to elaborate more. If the open area will improve, the NRC became less or more. If the open area is greater than others, so does the NRC will be affected?
Yes, the NRC will be slightly affected since it will absorb the holes the sound will be penetrating through the holes, and the back fleece will be absorbing that sound on the back of the holes. So it will slightly affect. However, we do have certain testing for certain open areas that we can share with him if he wants for the testing that we have.
So for sure, having a higher open area, it will improve the NRC. So it will improve less. Sorry, it will improve more. Sorry, it will improve more the NRC.
Taking into account the back fleece on the back. Yani the back fleece will absorb.
Karim, another question from Mr. Samer. He's asking why there is metric and imperial sizes.
Yes, there are certain projects that have requirements to metric sizes as well as to imperial sizes. Sometimes you're dictated by the lighting. There are sometimes lighting being specified that only comes in imperial sizes. So automatically you'll have to have your suspension system in imperial sizes. It depends on the specification of the project and the designers who specified the project, which dictates whether the project is imperial or metric. And certain companies, certain countries, they tend to have imperial, and other countries they tend to have metric.
Karim, what about if the contractor tend to paint the tile? Is it right to paint the tile or no?
when we provide the product, we have a warranty on the product. We don't recommend anyone to do any changes on the product. If they want a certain color, we can provide them with a certain color and a certain panel. So we do recommend not to have any changes on the tile itself when the contractor is installing. So they can order the color that they require from us.
And what I will add, what if there is special properties as hygiene properties or for healthcare application? The properties will be lost or no?
As I mentioned, we don't recommend for the contractor to paint on site, since even for hygienic products, we have special ceilings that we're going to do a webinar about healthcare ceilings and walls for healthcare applications. We do have a special composition in the paint when we do the painting or the lamination for antibacterial and anti-mold growth on the ceiling tiles. I'm not sure, maybe the paint that the contractor is getting might not have the characteristics that we do have, and we have tested our ceiling tiles with the paint that we use. We don't recommend the painting, especially for healthcare applications. We don't recommend painting on any of our tiles on site.
I have received another question from Mr. Ala. Do we have a wall paneling?
We do have wall cladding that can be from perforated metal panels that can be installed on the wall. However, if he's asking about, we do have certain wall cladding that will absorb the sound on the walls and have a certain NRC. We do carry that in our portfolio. However, it's from metal, perforated metal with infill. It can be added with an infill panel or a backpiece that will absorb the sound.
Going back again, Karim, for the gentleman who's asking about the seismic and the AMC7. The question is, are there any added values more than the movements for the seismic clip? Is there any test that show it will increase the performance with seismic is occurring?
I can share with them that there is testing of. We have a full study and a full report for seismic ceilings in our portfolio that I can be more than glad to share with them. And for the movement, it's very critical to have movement in the ceiling in a seismic activity zone, since if the ceiling cannot move, most probably it will collapse. That's why movement is critical, and I can share with them pictures of projects, failure of ceilings and projects that are not seismic, and how ceilings reacted when they were seismic ceilings and certain projects. I can share with them pictures and our guide as well for seismic activities.
Karim, another question. Do we have a cement tile product?
Made from fiber cement. It's
cement tile product.
Yes, it's we don't currently have, but it might be in the future. We are thinking of making cement tiles for the future, but as of the moment, we don't have cement tile.
And what about the wooden products?
For the wooden products, we do carry in our portfolio the baffles that can be of wooden effect. The veneer is not wood; it's made from aluminum. The baffles are made from aluminum with a wooden effect. Even we have mineral fiber with a wood tone effect. So it can be a mineral fiber tile with a lamination that comes in different wood tone effects. It's good this question was asked because I didn't mention the wood tone tiles that we do have and do carry in our portfolio. You can choose from walnut to chestnut to to mahogany, to many different wooden textures, and it's more economical than having a pure wood tile.
Another question from AMF, Mr. Ahmed Fuad, asking for when the 3D panel system webinar will be held, approximate timing. Inshallah, it will be held in February, most probably on 23rd of February. So we're conducting, if you can just check it, save it your calendar, each Tuesday of the last week of each month, we'll be having a technical webinar, similar to what we did in November and December. So it will be announced very soon, but most probably it will be held on 23rd of February for the specialty sealing. Another question, Kareem. What is the difference between the seismic hanger and the anchor?
Seismic hanger and the anchor. I'm not sure if he means by the anchor is the anchor that goes in the concrete slab. The anchor that goes in the concrete slab will carry the wire hanger or the hanger. We don't manufacture the anchors. These are from third-party companies that do manufacture anchors that are well known in the market. The hanger, we do have the wire hanger used in seismic zones, as well as we do have adjustable hangers in our portfolio and threaded rods as well.
And interesting question. What are the products can be used for outdoor application?
Yes, we do have a special metal sealing used in outdoor applications. It's an exterior metal sealing that we have tested internally. It's made from aluminum and powder coated aluminum, but it has to be installed beneath a soffit. It's not directly exposed to water or harsh weather conditions. It's usually beneath a soffit. It's protected by a soffit on the back, and it's tested for the wind load. It will not come out from its place. There's a special accessories that are installed for this exterior metal sealing system that we have and we carry in our portfolio. We can share any documentation if you have a project under construction or under design.
What are the recommended sealing type for kitchen?
Yes, for kitchens, you can use certain metal sealing, powder coated metal sealing. You can also have you can use the Sparta, which is a mineral fiber laminated sealing type, or you can use the gypsum sealing. But I recommend you can use the Sparta, which is a laminated mineral fiber acoustical sealing tile for wet areas. If you want to maintain a good, a slight acoustical performance, and the Sparta comes laminated on the face and the back as well. It's specifically for wet areas.
Last question from Mr. Cousin. Sound comes from seeing the background. Does the sound propagate also from story to story? Yeah, it's only from room to room. What about stories? What about from flooring to ceiling?
Yes, this is called IIC. It's when you have footsteps on the top floor, the sound might propagate to the bottom. That's to solve that, it also have to do with the flooring that you put in the assembly of the slab and or the corrugated sheet or the system itself beneath where you're stepping on the ground. So this has to do with IIC.
Mr. Bijou, do you have open cell ceiling, baffle?
Yes, we do have open cell ceiling. We mentioned it in our presentation quickly. However, in the specialty ceiling presentation that's going to be on February 23rd, we're going to elaborate more about the products and the specialty ceiling products that we have. Open cell is considered an old system, but we do carry as part of our portfolio. We do have the open cell in our portfolio. So the answer is yes, we do have.
So I hope that we have answered for the entire questions. We received another one. What is the solutions for the angle if the installer wish to apply on curved wall?
Apply on curved wall. We have the we have a certain perimeter angle that can be curved. It's the compasso trim. It's part of our portfolio that can be curved. I'm not sure if we're going to mention it in the specialty ceilings, but I urge you to send us an email. We can send you details about the compasso trim, which is a curved trim used in where you have curved ceilings.
Interesting question from Mr. Ala. I'm receiving this very frequent. I receive this question. We have on the 1200 cross T, there is a hole. What is the benefit for this hole? You know that
yes, on the long cross T, there is one hole in the middle that is to receive the short cross T. So the clip of the short cross T will go in this long
round hole. The round hole.
A round hole. Yes, this is a very good question. This round hole also is a bit for the expansion in the steel due to heat. So it comes in the manufacturing process. It allows for the expansion of the steel.
So is it for the hanging to the slab?
There is a hole for the hanging and there is a hole for the expansion. So the hole on top is for the hanging.
Can the aluminum tiles be used in healthcare application if the required specification are antibacterial?
Yes, if we do have powder coated aluminum tiles, and powder coating is of antimicrobial performance, and we do have testing from third party for those. So healthcare ceiling presentation and wall partition presentation will be one of the webinars that we will be having. Please also stay tuned for that webinar when we do have it in the future.
So yes, the answer is yes. They can use the aluminum tile in the hospital and healthcare application. And as Karim said, we have developed a special presentation webinar for the healthcare ceilings and wall. It will be reviewing the specified ceiling according to the latest construction industry of the FGI 2018 and the difference between the ceiling and its application for each and every particular room inside the healthcare. Karim, you have mentioned a while ago that you have answered Mr. Kuzin that yes, the sound might propagate from floor to floor, from flooring to ceiling. And you have mentioned that you have a special construction has to be made to the flooring. So the question is, the treatment shall be done on the floor, not on the ceiling only. What would be the solution for it, as he understands? What would be the materials used in the flooring to prevent the sound propagation from floor to other floor?
We do have on our website certain flooring products, maybe not used in the region. However, the system itself is tested to give you the IIC. Maybe it's 53 decibel, depending on his requirement. We do have a few tests for for the system of the flooring that I can share with him. If he can send me a separate email, I can share with him from our website the system assembly that has to be constructed for that.
Karim, how does the antimicrobial performance work?
How does the when we do testing in our in the laboratories, it's tested for the growth of different types of bacteria. So as per the standard, there are different bacteria that when you're doing the testing that will not grow on the tile itself. So that's how the testing is done for the antibacterial performance of the ceiling tiles. And we're more than happy to share our technical information and technical data sheets for those panels or tiles that are tested for antimicrobial performance.
In the hospital, we use some partition lead off radiation. What would be the solution concerning the ceiling? So, Karim, for the X-ray room.
That's a good question. Usually for X-ray rooms, the radiation is up to 7 feet. 7 feet, which is about, if I'm not mistaken, it's about
2 meters.
just 7. It's about 2.2 meters, 2.15 meters. So above that, the radiation will not go upwards. This is from the engineering assessments that is well known. Up to 7 feet, the lead line. You cannot put lead lined gypsum in the ceiling.
What are the grids and suspension?
Yes. What you sorry? What's the
Grid and
question?
suspension for the X-ray room.
Grid and suspension for the X-ray room. You can use the non-magnetic aluminum grid, even though any radiation will not go. You won't require lead to go all the way to the top.
So, thank you, Karim, for answering all of the questions. We will keep a little bit time if someone would send a question. We'll be happy to answer them accordingly. Otherwise, I will be mentioning in the chat box our contact details beside the website I'm mentioning right now. If you wish to receive any further information or support, please just drop us email immediately. My colleague Karim Mansour and myself, Musbah Muqbil. Also, I will mention the website. So here are the email addresses for everyone and the website where you can download your submittal immediately. I hope that we have answered all of your questions. Again, thank you very much for attending this interactive technical webinar. We hope that we have shed the light on technical information that you have been looking for. Please stay tuned on the 23rd of February for the very interesting presentation of the specialty ceiling and its type of application. We remain in touch from here. Till there, thank you very much again. Thank you, Karim, for this wonderful webinar, and stay safe. Thank you very much for all. Thank you.
Thank you.